It's my pleasure to welcome Lan Wang, Assistant Professor in Management at Peking University in Beijing in China, and Rick Cotton, Associate Professor of Talent Management and Sustainable Innovation at the University of Victoria in British Columbia, Canada. Lan's and Rick's paper was recently published in Human Resources Management. The paper title is Revitalizing Colleague-Specific Human Capital, Boomerang and Pipeline-Based Hiring in the 41-year multi-level study of employee mobility. Welcome to the interview with HRM with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why is your study important? What is the problem that led you to research this?
Actually, our study addressed the big challenge of high employee mobility in today's dynamic job market. So I'm interested in it because I'm always being attracted by how frequently people switch jobs. For example, like here in China, an industry report showed that Generation Z only stay about 7 months in their first jobs. So this creates all kinds of like headaches for organizations, like talent loss or rising recruitment and the training cost and the knowledge leakage, etc. So this really bring a challenge for organizations, like how can we hire effectively given the limited resources. So on the other hand, if we look at from the employee side, high mobility can also be tough for employees. And there is something called the mobility paradox in the literature, where even the top performers, they often experience a performance drop after switching their jobs. So I become very curious, can we find a hiring strategy that can benefit both sides? Like one strategy that can help employees to minimize the negative effects of job transitions and also help the companies to increase their performance. So that's the puzzle we set out to resolve. So we choose the baseball as a context for our research because it's a perfect fit for studying mobility. So with 41 years of data and nearly like 20,000 records, and we were able to objectively track the performance of players and their movement between the teams. So actually, I'm not a baseball expert, but Rick is a huge fan. Right? So Rick, do you want to jump in and share more about why we choose this topic?
Yeah, sure. I actually played baseball as a kid. I was a pitcher and I was terrible. I could hit any batter, and that's not what you're supposed to do in baseball. But I've always looked at baseball statistics and the opportunity to take baseball analytics, which are very sophisticated, and apply them to human resources. As Lan said, there's a lot going on. People are switching jobs. Employers are having trouble finding the right employees. There's more side hustles going on. There's quiet quitting. There are lots of reasons why employees are moving around. But as she said, the loss of talent and the loss of investment in training and coaching is significant. And oftentimes bringing on a new employee is expected to bring on new ideas, fresh blood, new perspectives. But sometimes it can also cause issues like dynamics that don't work out, or maybe a strategic misfit with the new employer. So looking for a strategy that's going to help both the employer and the employee is critical in this environment. Baseball creates a kind of natural experiment for us because it's generally high pressure on performance. Teams have to perform, individuals have to perform. It's an up or out organization, basically, where people are either going to survive or they're not, and they're going to exit the field if their performance is not good enough. But basically, we have to look at different ways that employees join organizations, and baseball is a natural experiment because it's 30 teams, a closed environment, and there's lots of movement of players between teams for various reasons. But the good thing is this is very similar to a lot of other fields like advertising or law or consulting, where there's expertise and high turnover, and employees generally take their human capital where they go so they can sort of sell their wares wherever they can find the highest bidder.
What did you find?
So we found that on the individual level, we found that how high mobility generally decreased the individual performance. But here's the interesting part. And when employees bring high colleague-specific human capital, meaning that they have built strong working relationships with the team, and the negative effect becomes weaker. So on the team level, we found that both Boomerang and Pipeline-Based Hiring also increased the team performance. And for the Boomerang hiring, it's because the returning employees bring colleague-specific human capital resources, which increase the team performance.
Why does that matter theoretically?
I can take this one. In terms of how it matters theoretically, two things are at play here, two theories. Human capital theory, which really focuses on the building of knowledge, skills, and abilities, and the ability to enhance those through employment moves, through training, through coaching, et cetera. And social capital theory, which focuses on the benefits from social connections between employees. So they both are at play here in terms of bringing in the knowledge, skills, or abilities you need onto your team, trying to minimize the negative effects, and also bringing in colleague-specific human capital where players know each other, they're familiar with each other, they work together well, and they can bring that camaraderie to a new team.
Yes, I also would like to add on the evidence. Actually, we found that the interaction between the mobility and the colleague-specific human capital accounts to up to 8% of the variance in individual performance. That's pretty impressive. Because especially for since even the well-known predictors like the past individual performance only explain about 17% of the variance in our sample. So it shows that relationship does matters in this context. And even and on the team level, we found that the team level colleague-specific human capital resources explain up to 8% of the variance in the team performance. So it also shows how powerful the work relationships can be. So basically, we shifted the focus in mobility research from looking at the individual attributes like movers, skills, and experience to emphasize the importance of the relationships.
That's critical. Yeah, it really is important because oftentimes in HR, and I worked in HR for a long time as a consultant and as a senior vice president, but basically you'll say past performance is the best predictor of future performance. Indeed, it's a very strong predictor, but what employers really recommend they do is look at, and you could do this through LinkedIn, look at the past history of employees, look at their career trajectory, look at whom they've worked with over time, look at who's been successful for your company in terms of pipeline-based hiring, what organizations did they come from, and also employees who worked there previously. They may have left for a variety of reasons, but often they can be brought back as boomerang hires because they are familiar with the organization and often at least some of the people who are still there. And that's really our key advice to employers, to look very closely at the past track record and careers of people you bring to your organization.
What do your results mean for HR policy or the practice of HR?
Yeah, I would say that the main thing is really pay attention to who you hire is critical, but pay attention to how often they've worked together. Now, you can do cluster hiring where you take a whole team from an organization, bring them in. You can do group-based hiring where you bring multiple people into the organization. These are two strategies that can help. And basically what we found is there's a synergistic relationship between pipeline-based hiring where people come from a similar source or background, and then boomerang hiring where they return to an old organization. So these two strategies can work well together. So organizations should try to maximize them and use them more frequently. As one famous baseball player, Ricky Henderson of the Oakland A's said, he said, Oakland is home and you always want to go home. Anytime you get the chance, you're happy to go home. And we view that as he really was saying, when he went back to Oakland, because he played on different teams, so he was a boomerang hire going back. He also played with some of the same players on Oakland when he went back there, is you could always go home in the sense that there's familiarity with other players, with the strategy, with the team, and that can lead to higher performance. In this day and age, organizations really are looking to maximize performance, and it's difficult in industries like healthcare, consulting, or law to find the right types of employees. So you have to really look at a variety of strategies to be able to bring in the right people.
We also emphasize on the importance of the colleague-specific human capital, and especially for those boomerang and the pipeline-based candidates. And In fact, in the literature, there's a debate on whether a boomerang hiring can really bring benefits to the organizations or to individuals. So our study kind of bring the evidence to help managers to better know how to leverage the benefits of the boomerang hiring and the pipeline-based hiring.
Yeah. In particular, Google, as an example, does more pipeline-based hiring. So in a stable environment, we have jobs that don't change very much. Bringing people back through boomerang hiring can make a lot of sense. In a situation like you look at, so Amazon, does more boomerang hiring. Google will do more pipeline-based hiring, where they're looking for people with certain internships, college backgrounds, majors, experiences, and doing that and hiring people consistently from sources that have worked for you really makes a lot of sense more for them. But using a combination should allow you to get the right type of employees for you.